So it's not a frame here. Okay, so non-isosceles trapezoids and isosceles trapezoids. So we learned this whole isosceles word with our triangles. It means we have two sides that are congruent. So look at the first one, it's non-isosceles. This one is non-isosceles because you guys see how this is like a straight line and this one's slanted? Like there's no real like definite shape to it. So there's only one pair of opposite sides that are parallel. Consecutive angles are supplementary. What does this word mean? Yep, two angles equal to 180. This consecutive word, what does that mean? Okay, so you guys will hear me say a lot today, consecutive. I don't say that word, I say same side. So that means that like angle 1 and angle 2, both of those angles will equal 180. Angles 3 and angle 4, both of those angles will equal 180. So when it says consecutive angles are supplementary, that means same side angles equal to 180. Then we have isosceles trapezoids. So this is isosceles because I have congruent sides. This is a base, and this is a base. These are your legs, or legs, not legs. Okay, so that's a leg and that's a leg. In an isosceles trapezoid, those two legs are congruent. Okay? Your opposite angles are supplementary, your base angles are congruent. So that means this top angle is congruent to that angle. And this angle is congruent to that angle. They're both the same. That's an isosceles triangle, or trapezoid. All right, so number 1. It says find each missing value of the trapezoids below. All right, so I want to focus on the fact that 1 is the non-isosceles. Okay, it's a little wacky. Same side angles are equal to 180. So we're looking at the same side. How can I figure out what angle M is going to be?
180 minus 87.
Good. 180 minus 87. What does that give us?
93.
All right, so angle M is 93 degrees. And so if we look at the other side, same side angles are supplementary. I'm going to do 180 minus 51. And that is going to equal what? 29. Good. So that angle is 129 degrees. All right, for number 2, same side angles are supplementary. So let's look at the left side. If angle A is 62, what is angle B going to be? What? How did you get 118?
180 minus 62.
All right, Lulu did 180 minus 62. All right, and how can I find the measure of angle C? 180 minus 31, which leaves me 149. 149. Easy enough? If we were to add up all of these angles inside of our trapezoid, there's 4 sides, it would equal 360 because we know that interior angles of a quadrilateral is 360 degrees. All right, number 3. It says solve for x. And they didn't put the trapezoid on its base, which is okay. I still have these two angles. Same side angles are equal to what? So I can add up those two numbers, or those two expressions to equal 180. So I have 54 plus 8x plus 6 is equal to 180. Or, what else you could do is you can say, this is 54, I know this is going to be 126, because same side equals 180. So I did 180 minus 54. So you could also put into Desmos, 8x plus 6 is equal to 126. Either one of those options will work. What do you guys get for x? Okay. 15. Someone double check, Lulu, make sure our answer is 15. We get the same thing, Izzy?
Yeah.
Michael? I really want you guys to start using Desmos a lot more. I know that you guys know how to solve because we've been solving all year, and you passed Algebra 1 and the SOL. So now we can use this resource. Just type it into Desmos. What'd you say?
I heard somebody say they're going to stop using Desmos or something.
I have not heard that at all. But, you know, this is our, basically our Virginia State calculator. So your SOL, there's a little tab at the very top of your SOL, and it's for Desmos. So you can use it on your SOL. That's why we use it so much in class. All right, so then it says, find the measure of R. So I have same side angles. They're going to equal what? 180. So on the same side. So I have 12x plus 3 plus 7x minus 13 is equal to 180. If you like solving by hand, that is completely okay. You can do that. Or you can just type it to Desmos. Did you guys get x is 10? Make sure you're practicing your Desmos. Okay, x is 10, but they didn't ask me for x. They asked me for the measure of angle R, which is 7x. Instead of x, we're going to plug in 10 minus 13. What do we get for the measure of angle R? 57 degrees. Just like who's your counselor? It's okay, but who's your case manager? Little? Huh? Is Miss Little from London?
I don't know. She has the.
That's what another student said that, and I was like, I don't think she is. Like, I've never.
Pretty sure she said she is.
She thinks that she is from there, or British Island. I'm not too sure. All right, DEFG is an isosceles trapezoid. So when it's isosceles, that means that DG is going to be congruent to what other side? EF. Don't get confused with parallel, because it's not parallel. If it kept going, you'll run into each other. But it is congruent. So DG is congruent to EF. And so DF, which is this guy, is congruent to what? EG. right, for number 6, TUVW is an isosceles trapezoid. So what that means is that angle T is congruent to angle U. And so that angle V is congruent to angle W. When it's isosceles, we'll have the same numbers for those angles. So let's practice that. At number 7, they told us that P is 112. So what is Q going to be? It's 112, right? Because it's isosceles, I know that because my legs are congruent. So my top two angles are the same. How can I find, Joseph and Ian, how can I find what angle R is going to be? The same side angles. Okay, so if I do 180 minus 112, what am I left with? Alright, so this angle is 68. Angle R, 68 degrees. So what's angle S going to be? 68 degrees. Alright, number 8. Aaliyah, what is angle W going to be? 47, good. Alright, so Aaliyah just told us that angle W is 47. Kenzie, how can I find angle Z? Okay, so what's 180 minus 47?
133.
So that means that angle Z is 133 degrees. Izzy, if angle Z is 133 degrees, what's angle Y going to be? Yep. You guys see how the two different trapezoids work? The one that looks like it's irregular, we just can't fill in the same numbers. But if it's an isosceles, then we can. All right, let's turn the page. All right, so what it says, the NNOP is an isosceles trapezoid. NP is 16x minus 13. And NO is 9x plus 8. And then they told us, yes, that PN was 5y plus 19, and MO was 12y minus 37. I'm solving for x and I'm solving for y. Let's solve for x first. What's special about these two sides? They're congruent to each other. So I have 16x minus 13 is equal to 9x plus 8. You guys solve? Then tell me what you get for x. This is the Desmos problem. Let me know what you get for x. Okay. Someone double check Lulu. 3.
Yes.
Good. All right, I am also going to figure out what my y is. My diagonals are congruent. So I have 5y plus 19 is equal to 12y minus 37. Type this into Desmos, see what you get. Earlier, someone told me that the answer was 0. Well, that's because when you type it into Desmos, they give you an x and a y value. We're not solving for x, we're solving for y. So look at that second number, not the first number. What'd you get? 8? Yes. You guys get 8? Good. All right, number 10. Number 10 says if ABDC is an isosceles trapezoid, find each missing angle. All right, if it's isosceles, that means that these sides are congruent, which means that these angles are congruent. How can I solve for x? Make them equal to each other. So I have 2x plus 27 is equal to 5x minus solve for x. You guys get 13?
Yes.
Okay, so if x is 13, that's not my answer. We needed that to figure out the rest. I'm going to figure out angle C and D first. So in your calculator, type in 2 times 13 plus 27, and what do you get? And you don't have to do it twice, because I know these angles are going to be the same regardless. So plug in 13 for your x, and tell me what you get. Okay, so Kenzie got that these base angles are going to be 53 degrees. All right, if my base angles are 53 degrees, I can do 180 minus 53 to figure out what the same side angle is. What do we get? You can do 180 minus 53. Okay, so we got 127. That means that angle B is 127 and angle A is 127. So now I am ready to plug in my answers. A and B is 127 degrees. Angle C is 53 degrees. And there we go. All right, so do we understand the basics of trapezoids? Okay, so now we're going to finish the rest of this later as practice. Let's go on. Actually, let's spend about 5 minutes doing 11 through 14. What you guys have to realize is what they give us. I have same side angles, so they're going to be equal to what? 180. On number 12, I have opposite angles. Opposite angles are what? Huh? They're not congruent. If I had a trapezoid, this is 60 and that's 120, this would be 120, that would be 60. Opposite angles are also supplementary. So those two angles, this one plus this one will also equal 180. Now, if they're on the same, if they are on the same base, they are congruent. And 14 is another opposite angle, so it's going to be equal to 180. So you guys take a minute and do these 4 problems. All right, so here are your answer choices. Did you guys get these right? Yes? Did you guys get this right? Number 11? Actually, do you at least get the x values correct? Okay. Once you get the x values, then we can plug them in. We are good on 11 through 14. Yes, no, maybe. Okay. So now let's go ahead and go to, turn to page 25. All right, on page 25, this is a different topic, but same concept. We're doing the mid-segment of a trapezoid. So the mid-segment of a trapezoid connects the midpoint of the legs. If EF is the mid-segment, that's what we know. EF is the mid-segment. AB and DC are also parallel. So we're going to write AB is parallel to EF, which is parallel to DC. The part that we will be doing today is that EF, which is your mid-segment, is going to be equal to AB plus DC divided by 2. Now, when I do this, we are going to use Desmos because I just think it's a whole lot easier for you guys. Once again, we could solve it using regular algebra. It'll just take a little bit longer. All right, let's skip 1 through 4. Let's go to number 5. On number 5, it says for trapezoid PQRS, YZ are the midpoints of the legs. So my mid-segment is this guy. But I know that PQ and SR are also parallel. Here's what we do. I want you guys to copy exactly what I do right now. Let's circle my mid-segment. The mid-segment was 5x minus 19. We're going to write that down on the left side of the equal sign. 5x minus 19. Write this down. All right, next what we are going to do is we are going to add up our other two parallel lines. So I have 38 plus whatever's on the bottom, which is x plus 14, which is equal to, which is divided by 2. That divided by 2 is just a part of our equation. All right, so let's use Desmos. When we use Desmos, let me take a second for mine to come up. Sorry, this thing is very slow. All right, so once you go to Desmos, let's type in our mid-segment. So 5x minus 19. And it is going to be equal to, because we have a fraction, we are going to use parentheses. Parentheses for what's on top. So 38 plus x plus 14, close parentheses, divided by 2. Let's zoom out. What do we get for x? You get 10. If you do not use parentheses over here, let's say that you type in 38 plus x plus 14 and then divide by 2. Is that the same thing? No. You don't get the same answer, and it's just dividing that last number by 2. So that's basically 7. If that happens, just backspace, and you can add in your parentheses if you want. That way. Either way, you gotta have them. Then divide by 2. Make sense? All right, so they did not ask me for y, but I had to find y. Or, sorry, for x. So I got x is equal to 10, and then they asked me for yz. Yz is 5x, which is 10, minus 19. What do we get for yz? You get type that into your calculator or into test plus. Guys, 5 times 10 minus 19. Thank you. So YZ is 31, and that is your answer. All right, let's look at number 6. On number 6, this is my mid-segment. I'm circling my 25 that goes on the left side of my equal sign. On the right side, I'm adding my bases. So 2x plus 11 plus 6x minus 1, and that is divided by 2. Type that into your calculator. What do you get for x? What'd you get? So then find KJ. All right, did everyone get 5? If you wanted to solve this by hand, guys, you will multiply both sides by the denominator, and then that will cancel out. So you would have 50 is equal to 8x plus 10, and then you can still solve it. Like you have to combine like terms here, so 2x plus 6x is 8x, 11 minus 1 is 10, and then you would, as normal, subtract 10, so then you would have 40 equals 8x, which gives you 5. They asked for KJ. Alright, so let's plug it in. KJ is 6x minus 1. Instead of x, I'm plugging in 5. What do we get for KJ? What'd you get? 29, that is correct. So just don't be confused when you do this, because it's easy to find x, but don't stop there. Make sure you read the directions. I want you guys to do number 7 on your own. Alright, I'm gonna write my answers on the board. So 8x minus 3 is equal to x plus 7 plus 6x plus 5, and that is divided by 2. Did you guys, x was 2? So you got? They asked you to find UV. So UV is 13. Any questions on this? All right, I want you guys to work on numbers 1 through 4, and then we'll go over the answers.